Hey there guys, Tom here. Welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the brand new Apple TV Plus series, Defending Jacob. Defending Jacob stars Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery, and Jaden Martell and tells the story of a young kid called Jacob who is implicated in a brutal murder of one of the classmates at his school. Chris Evans plays his father. He is an assistant district attorney who is actually investigating the murder when he finds out that his son may be implicated in this crime. And it's an 8-episode long sort of mini-series based on a book, and it really explores in great detail what a family goes through when a member of the family, especially, a child, a 14-year-old child is convicted or implicated in a crime on this kind of scale. Have you guys seen Defending Jacob? If you have, let me know in the comments section below. Also, remember to hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. Listen, Defending Jacob, this was a show, this is like the only show I was interested on Apple TV Plus. Mainly because of the cast. I'm a huge Chris Evans fan, obviously, because of Captain America and all that stuff. And I like Jaden Martell, especially, he was great. Both of these guys were great in Knives Out as well. And Michelle Dockery is just fantastic. So, and of course, the premise got me hooked. I didn't know anything about the book, but I was really interested in this kind of premise. I love, Law and Order and those types of shows. And so this was sort of right up my alley. And I did really enjoy Defending Jacob. I can see that this show is not going to be one that everybody's going to love. It's not going to be a show that is, for everyone. I think there are going to be many people who watch the show and leave a little disappointed because of how deep this show goes into, the family drama. And that's one of the things that, in fact, really made me love the show. But I could see why people would just want to find out, did he do it? Did he not do it? What happened? And yes, that's a big part of the show is trying to find out, and being interested in, well, did Jacob do this? Did he not do this? How did that happen? What actually went down that day at the park when one of his classmates was killed? But the show is so much more about, what happens to this family and what they go through. They end up, because it's such a high priority case and because Chris Evans' character, he's a district attorney. And so they end up, obviously it's all over the news and, they have to shop at, really early in the morning so that they're not recognized out in public. And there are scenes when even after Jacob is implicated in the crime, I should say, it's on the news, obviously. And so they can't go out to family dinners at restaurants. And there are scenes like that. And this show really does a good job of showing what people in this kind of situation would go through in real life. It feels really kind of realistic in that sense. Also, this show does a fantastic job with tension. This show, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and I watched this show all in one sitting. Yes, I stayed up till 3 a.m. binging this show. And even at 3 a.m. when I was tired and wanted to go to bed, I was still on the edge of my seat, tensed out. Obviously, the performances in this series are all fantastic. Chris Evans gives one hell of a performance. It might be the best performance I've ever seen of Chris Evans, and he was great as Captain America. He's been great in almost everything he's been in. I haven't seen Chris Evans, I don't think, turn in a performance that I didn't like. But he really, really shines in this show. Michelle Dockery she's amazing as well in this show. And a lot of the emotional, really heavy stuff kind of rests on her shoulders. And so I was really impressed with how she was able to pull all that off in this show. And then Jaden Martell as well. The character he plays, he's not a very expressive character as it is, but Jaden Martell does a really good job of giving a real subtle performance. I feel like, yes, sometimes it's not as subtle, and sometimes, the character of Jacob, he just sort of explodes and he doesn't know what's going on and he's confused and he lashes out and all this stuff. But, there are other moments where he's just sitting there and you can just tell by looking at his face what he's thinking. It's one of those kind of subtle performances, but one of those subtle performances that does tell us a lot about what the character is going through in that particular moment. Now, I know this series is based off a book, and I haven't read the book. I'm just going into the series because I was interested in the premise. And I'm actually really interested in kind of reading the book now to see how the two differ from each other, mainly because I want to see if the book ends differently than the series does, because I have to admit, without spoiling anything, I don't want to get into spoilers in this video, and I'm not going to. I will say, though, this show has some vague elements. You're not necessarily going to get all the answers from different things that happen in the show. You're not going to get all the answers you might want out of it. And I can see why people would watch the show, get to the end, and feel a little disappointed that they didn't get the answers they were looking for. There are a lot of elements in this show that are left up to the viewer's interpretation. And I can see that that is what, the filmmakers were going for in this instance. And it worked for me, but also I'm sitting there going, yeah, but I wanted to know about this, and how did that happen? Like, I sort of found myself getting a little frustrated at times with how vague they were being. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I actually end up getting more frustrated when TV shows or series, their ending is kind of left up to the viewer's interpretation. I get a little bit more frustrated with series and shows like that than when movies do it, because when a movie does it, you've sat there for 2 hours and then you get to the end and it's left up to the interpretation of the viewer as to what you thought and about what really happened. But with a TV show or a series, you end up spending, 8 or 10 hours being invested in the show to get to the end and not have them answer all the questions that the show poses. I can see how that could be a little disappointing to some people. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed about the ending of the series, but still, overall, as a very minor criticism, overall, this show is fantastic. I love this show. I thought the performances were great. I'm actually planning to rewatch it soon in the near future. It's quite a heavy show, but it's a show that definitely holds your attention and keeps you invested, and does a really good job of, building character and building tension. And if you guys have Apple TV Plus and you haven't yet seen Defending Jacob, it's definitely a show I would recommend. And also remember, if you buy like an iPad or something, you get a year free of Apple TV Plus. And my cousin bought an iPad, and so I was able to watch it. So that's cool. Thanks, Sam. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for my review of Defending Jacob. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen this series, and let me know your thoughts right down there in the comment section below. Let's carry on the discussion. My name is Tom. Remember to hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies and sometimes TV shows when there's, a pandemic and things are happening and there's no new movies to review. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.